Hello, and welcome back to another devlog on the things that I've been working on. Honestly, I don't remember the last time I've had 2 days off in a row from my day job, at least under normal circumstances, but I had my rest day yesterday, so I was thinking I might as well have my second day just be as much game development as possible. If you're new to the channel, my friends and I are making a game called Picky Plant, a physics game about causing chaos in a magical marketplace by feeding your very picky plant. Right now the game is in an experimentation phase where I'm just trying out ideas to see what sticks in a sandbox. Starting off the day, I just got back from buying groceries for the week and I'm ready for some breakfast, some eggs and rice. While the rice is cooking, I'm going to comb my cats since they're getting pretty shitty. While I eat some breakfast, I might as well get to writing down some tasks for the day in Notion. Notion is what I currently use for keeping track of my devlog and stock instrument progressions. There's a bit of a learning curve, but for long-term information, this is one of my favorite programs. It's a little past noon now. I think I'm ready to tackle one of my larger tasks. Right now, I have the item collection and item throwing in 2 separate scripts, and I'd like to combine those since they're so intertwined anyways. I also want to give the player the ability to carry around 2 items, one for each hand. I think this will help open up more gameplay decisions for the player. This took a little longer to implement than I originally thought, because I misspelled a function. Yeah, I really should have done a small coding segment as a warm-up. And next for me, I wound up doing a smaller task anyways. It's been bugging me that the ham collides with the player on throwing, so now it scales in on throwing, and I can tweak that with an animation curve. I would like to add in the player's velocity to the throw force, but the character controller doesn't use physics. I'll probably add that in later with the big character rework that I have planned, since I'm going to have to redo a lot of things anyways. I'm trying to work on shorter bursts of work instead of losing efficiency from longer sessions, so I decided to go for a quick walk while I go throw away some trash. Plus, some stretching is always nice to do. In the last devlog, I brought in some grass into the project by spawning it onto a mesh. In practice, I'm going to need to be able to define grassy areas quickly. I could revisit mesh generation, but then I remembered that Pro Builder exists, and that's got a polygon builder. Although I can't specifically set vert positions, this will work for now. While I was waiting on Pro Builder to download and install, I was also editing and uploading a clip of grass for last week's devlog that I got on my phone during my walk. While that's converting and taking up the entirety of my computer, I might as well make some lunch. Some good old frozen beef and broccoli. With the footage wrapped up, I can make a final push to edit the last 33% of the shader graph devlog. I'm wrapping up my assignments quicker than I thought I would, so I want to try something with the grass particles. I know that VFX systems can always be animated, but particle systems can't. And VFX graph for the universal render pipeline is only in preview, so I would rather wait for stability. At least I can click on the particle systems to get them started up, and that gave me an idea. I figured I need to hook some functions up to some editor events that detect play mode changes and scene loading. But as I was testing things out, turns out onValidate was already being called. If you don't know about onValidate, it gets called every time you make a change to an object's inspector. But a quick look at the documentation says that it also gets called when a script is loaded, and those are loaded at the same time a scene is loaded. So all I have to do is get the particle system component and call simulate, and I've got grass all the time. Now I just need a way to have it update when I'm updating the mesh with Pro Builder, but that's for another time. Next on my docket, I want to tweak the throw variables a little bit. Once the game is moving into the alpha phase, I want there to be distinct groups of feel with throwables. Denser, faster items that are suitable for destruction, non-physical area of effect items, maybe even lobbable items. I want to start thinking of these early while I start writing the master design document. Moving on, I also want water to be in the game, and I'd like for the player to not be able to swim. This would be an easy problem to present to the player, and I've got some mechanic ideas on how to solve it. But for now, let's make water an actual issue for the player. I want the player to respawn, specifically from 2 locations, from their original starting location and a lagging safe spot. I added in a kill plane based on the Y position, so at least I don't have to worry about falling anymore. For the lagging safe spot, I'm doing a distance check from the previous spot and a downwards raycast to check if the area is safe. If it comes back true, then that's the new safe spot. The water will be a trigger area that will respawn the player at their safe spot after a second. I want to do a funny drowning animation later during that delay in respawning. Just for fun, I decided to add in some trails to the throwables. It's a really small thing, but I think it adds a good sense of speed to the things you throw. It would be nice if the trail started off from under the model, but that sort of polishing is for another phase of development. It's been a few hours of programming and writing, so I think it's time for a bit of night walking while I jot down some ideas on my phone. Producing devlogs can get a little tricky to produce sometimes. I'm way more organized than how I was for the past 2 attempts. Coffee Shop, or Caffeine Cafe, was nearing completion, but I didn't find it fun to play or develop for, especially towards the end. The devlogs back then were meant to be that fun part, at least for me, but once I got into balancing the game, my interest seriously died off. The Ludum Dare game, which I planned to spin off into its own project, oh man, that was way overscoped right from the get-go. The devlog, though, for that one was really good. Actually, too good for me right now. I can distinctly remember that I was driving a forklift for unloading a truck for Lowe's. I was tired because I just got done with a 6-hour shift of processing merchandise for another store's truck just down the street, when suddenly my phone was buzzing a lot. The Ludum Dare video, from what I can assume was being recommended to people by the algorithm, and it was taking off a bit. It was kind of a really weird moment. Sometimes I feel that it's always looming over me as it's approaching 10,000 views at this point in time. And then on other days, I feel as if, well, I've done this before, and I bet I could do it again. And I've kind of been stuck in that mindset for a while. It kind of makes me a little happy and motivated. Anyways, after some dinner, I wanted to add in one small mechanic: explosive potions. The ideas that I had during my walk are gonna build onto this item later. Explosives are pretty easy to set up. I've got to use physics.overlapsphere to get any colliders in a radius, and then call that down into all the colliders attached rigid bodies. I gotta keep track of all the rigid bodies as well, since some have multiple colliders and I don't want to have an explosive force stack multiple times. I do have to open for work in the morning, so I'm gonna have to cut it here while my computer renders out the last devlog. This was a productive day, and I might need to adjust my work style to be more like this. Fast little sprints with breaks in between. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you want to see more in the future, and most importantly, take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one.